have Dr. Mehran from CBS School of Cologne in Germany. And Dr. Mehran is expert in export marketing, about the business, and today he will share with us about his research, and also will discuss with you about your publication, which you need later on for the sake of the graduation. And if you have any questions regarding publication and regarding the topics, especially for the sustainability, you can ask directly from Dr. Mehran. Okay, Dr. Mehran, now floor is yours and you can start your presentation.
Thank you very much, Uzbekistan. So, research brief in sustainability, and when I'm talking about sustainability, it's a very, very broad topic, sustainability. What I try to do from a perspective of the sustainability, I'm going to go more into the direction of the international business and sustainability, and more specifically, as Dr. Baboliani's already mentions, my expertise or my field of specialization would be on exporting and export performance. So this is why I try to just link my research and our today discussions more toward export performance, export marketing, entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial orientations, and sustainability. And I try to share with you my latest, not my own research, but the way that I've just digging to the details related to my topic. How did I find literatures, and which directions now literature's just moving around, and how we as a researcher, we could kind of spot those areas that could be considered as a researchable area for us. First of all, I would like to talk to you about certain type of terminology, which is very important for us to know in terms of the sustainability. Which theoretical framework might make a sense for us when we are just working on this line of research, and then direction of the research in sustainability from my perspective, actually. And I just pick for you like a couple of 3, 4, 5 very good research in these directions, and try to show you how the sustainability could be linked to the different topics. And in these directions, I'm going to show you how do I do my own literature review, how do I just pile up my own, do my research to find a very good articles, those articles which are kind of considered for me the main framework of my research. And then I would probably would be able to give you some feedback for your research or for your future directions. And every research I pick here, it was for reasons, and I would even try to just show you certain type of limitations and the future direction of the research that might be helpful. Most of the framework that I'm using here are quite up to date and quite updated, and these are probably even repeating this very similar directions of this research could be very helpful for you to go to this direction. So first things first, talking about corporate social responsibility. Can you see my screen, or do you think the texts are is big enough for you to see it, is large enough for you to see it, or shall I just zoom in here?
I still can read it, Doctor.
Yeah, you can read it. You're very good. So the first sentences, or let's say the first keywords that we have here is the corporate social responsibilities, and very let's say easy way of easy way of explaining of the corporate social responsibility would be, or a CSR here. Now you will see that's a kind of CSR here. Is a kind of welfare of the business about the concern of the business about the welfare of the societies. Yeah, so this would be very similar, a very famous terminology that we have in an area of the sustainabilities. There is a big difference between me and my colleagues when we are talking together informally. We normally say that in the area of the strategic management, every year, every 5 years, we have to look into the new terminologies. these strategies really like to make new terminologies, new keywords, yeah, new determinant, especially if you are just like to do a kind of modeling here. Very differently, economists have a different approach. So economists normally try to be very, very loyal to those terminology that they were using before, try to refer to it, but you can expect certain type of terminology in strategic management getting outdated and less likely to be kind of repeated in the new research. Yeah, it makes it a little bit difficult because you will see that people or different researchers using a different type of operational variable to measuring a very similar or very very close construct. Yeah, so in these directions, corporate social responsibility, which is yeah, one of the very famous terminology here, is getting a little bit outdated right now. Yeah, so we will see that the strategic management literatures are looking to more aspects, and they try to link the corporate social responsibility to different areas. Yeah, as you
is it doesn't hear already?
So I think Iron, could you please mute yourself and mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. Good. So we have corporate social responsibility and we have corporate social responsibility strategy. Yeah. What is corporate social responsibility strategy? Different type of definitions that we have here, or different type of clarification that we have here. But to put it into the nutshell, we will see that the companies try to voluntarily look after certain strategies, set of action to achieve certain goal, in order to avoid the negative downsides of not following the sustainable approach. Yeah, so they know that sooner or later, different stakeholders in the market may want to have certain sustainable products. And on the other side, government might be imposed certain limitations to water productions by imposing a law or imposing certain type of taxation. So this is why companies, enterprise, voluntarily, they try to even change their approach toward having more sustainable strategy here. So this is why you will see that in certain literature, we have corporate social responsibility strategy. Yeah. So this could be product strategy, this could be process strategy, that could be even supply chain management strategy that the company has. That if you're just talking about supply chain management, it could be linked to the procurement or sourcing, different type of aspects in these directions. So so companies, manager inside the company try to realize what type of stakeholder that we have and how they could organize their resources to conduct activity, to gather knowledge, to accumulate the knowledge in order to put this sustainability approach in a kind of directions that produce goods and services that would be received certain attention by the customers inside the markets, or we call it like kind of for commercial output. So the second or the third terminology that we have here is managerial environmental concern. Yeah? So managerial environment concern. So managerial, we know that anything, something which is very much linked to the managerials would be strategies and making decisions. This is another terminology which we see recently keep repeated in a different type of literatures, and we will see that this would be the executive or let's say directors inside the companies. How do they dedicate their resources, their activities, their effort toward environmental concern? So how we could produce goods and services in order to be environmentally friendly, or show certain type of responsibility toward the different type of stakeholder that we have here. So this is managerial environmental concerns that we will see that this would be another terminology which is popping up here. It's very common. Yeah? It's not always, but we will see that in the new line of the literatures, majority of literature, or let's say a great amount of the literatures, link sustainability to innovation. Yeah, it means that how a company in order to deal with this issue of the sustainability, companies need to looking for new ways, looking for new type of productions and process in order to be sustainable, and they call it a kind of innovation capabilities. Yeah. When it comes to the innovation capabilities and linking innovations to sustainability, we have even different type of terminology here. For example, sustainable innovations. But getting back to the innovation capability or environmental innovation capabilities here, it means that those capabilities that the company has that help the company to deal with the different external environment factors in order to produce goods and services that might be a kind of sustainable. Resource-based view model. What is resource-based view model? I mean, one of the theoretical model that might support this one, but why resource-based view model? In order to explain it better for you, I would like to go to the next slides. Yeah. This is a theoretical framework, including those constructs or those external and internal variables that you might see in different type of export performance direction research. In these directions, you're going to see we have different type of determinants, internal and external variables here. And you will see marketing strategies introduce a kind of mediating variable. As a kind of mediating variable. Some literatures even see it as a part of internal variables. Some see it a big difference between these as a strategies and internal variable. They want to just see it differently. But what is resource-based view model? So I would assume most of you know, but probably you forgot. We will see that the companies just making the or creating the competitive advantage based on the resources and capability they do have. And based on these theoretical models, resources are unique and are not transferable from one company to another company. And the basic source for competitive advantage inside the company would be that to understand which capability that they have is the main capability for developing a core competency for the company. And then such kind of company could be successful in any market or in any kind of any industries, which we know that this theoretical framework together with, in comparison with other theoretical frameworks, comes with its own shortcoming. So this is why we will see resource-based view as itself is not kind of enough for such kind of research. But resource-based view supporting the idea behind internal variables, so firm characteristics or firm capabilities here, or managerial characteristics. And if we get back to the other models, so here we are talking about capabilities here. And since we are talking about capabilities here, we will see that it would be in line with the direction of the resource-based view model. However, it is at the same time in line with the triple bottom line models, which I'm going to explain for you later. Good. As you will see, the next terminology for us would be sustainable innovation, and it's a kind of broad notions that cover a kind of different types of elements and factors that help the company in order to be more sustainable. So it means that using innovations or just try a company to use innovations and the idea of the entrepreneurship in order to use or coming up with different product and services, organizational wise, technological wise, in order to, or marketing wise, in order to be more sustainable here. We will see even these literatures go a little bit further by offering green innovations. Now we have green innovation as a new terminology, very similar to sustainable innovations, but this is also another terminology which is used now recently in the literature here. But you have to be careful. Sometimes green innovations and sustainable innovations might be measured with certain type of similar operational variable here, right? So when we're talking about green innovations, we are talking about those elements, those software, hardware elements that a company could use in order to improve or create product and services. However, they have to just put into the place the idea of the innovations, idea of the creations of the new products, idea of eco-friendly product, eco-friendly design, and or probably eco-friendly packaging here, and in order to be more sustainable. So you will see here this green innovation is now linked to the kind of marketing mix, more product from product perspective. Because if you will see a product perspectives in marketing mix, we will see then different dimensions here. Product quality, product, if it is a kind of food product, taste here might be important for us. Packaging, logo, coloring, design, whatever you have here, it might be very important here. So green innovations, and now we have green product innovation, another terminology. Yeah, launch of the new friendly ecological products or services. Yeah, this would be another type of terminology that we have here. I just said the green process innovation is about proactively, very important, proactively we would change our manufacturing process in order to use the green technology to design the way that we are producing our product in order to reduce environmental risks here. Yeah. And I said that imagine if there is a company just in agriculture business and they are producing palm oil, how a company could use these green process innovations from your perspective.
I'm still a bit unsure about this concept of green company innovation and agricultural. But
So,
I believe it will help in
what type of environmental risk that we might have in these businesses? Yeah, using water. Yeah, so much water. Could you please just mute yourself, Ryan? Water. Yeah, using fertilizer, using pesticide, and even inside company that are using energy, probably. Yeah. I don't want to go to the details of the human resource management or whatever, but this is some kind of very basic product that they're probably using. And we have to look for the way that how we could just improve this process of the productions in order to reduce these negative impact of using so much water, for example, just irrigating with less water, using new technology in order to consume less water than what it is normal. If you are using fertilizer, we have to be careful of how much of fertilizer that we are using. If it is chemical fertilizer, if it would be a kind of a natural fertilizer that we are using. Pesticides, we have to be careful of using a pesticides. What is the norm here? What type of energy that we are using? Is it making sense to just change the source of energy from what we are using that help the company to be more sustainable in this direction? So now we are not kind of changing the output. We try to just look into the process of the productions in order to make the process more innovative and in order to be more smart in terms of the productions to reduce the environmental risks. And we have to be able to even measure it. Yeah. So this is something that the companies currently really work on. Another terminology which you probably have heard about it before, but you're thinking about green supply chain management. Yeah, supply chain management is a very, very broad topic, but now we are just looking to the green supply chain management, and it would be referred to those activities or those initiatives that we could just put into the place within our supply chains in order to, in terms of, this is also very, very broad. So here they just call it from a sourcing perspective, yeah, sourcing the raw material perspective, procurement and sourcing here, designing of the products. Now they just link it to the research and development and designing. And now they just come to the logistics, packaging, storage. And as you can see, this green supply chain management, based on these definitions that we already have here, is kind of even encompassing a very large directions here. So improving the palm oil industry in the way of the producing using solar panels instead of the coal. Very good. Yeah, this is something which I told you about it. Yeah, or reducing a deforesting. Very good. Yeah, this is what you already said, Samuel, and what you already mentioned. David was very good. Yeah. So I want you to thinking about the process, and in order to do to that directions, if you're just kind of link it to a little bit strategic management, we have to first analyze the different type of stakeholders that might be linked to our business. And then we will see what values that we have for each stakeholders. And then we try to see, measure those activity related to them, set a benchmark, and then we try to see that on which directions we have to maybe reduce waste or reduce the environmental impact in order to be more sustainable on that directions. Good. I think this is a terminology that you might see. It's not really just only these terminologies, it might be even more. I would like to even just mention a new line of research which I'm following recently. There is a sustainable product attributes. Yeah, they call it SPA. Yeah, sustainable product attributes, which is even move into the two direction: social sustainable product attribute and environmental sustainable product attributes. Yeah, so we are in this line of research, we would consider the social and environmental aspects of a sustainable product. And we try to see that from a social perspective and from the environmental perspectives, how they are kind of different from each other. In order to a little bit not pushing you with these details, but very important element, which I would say tell you, is environmental sustainable product attributes is kind of over research. Yeah, majority of the literature during last decades focus on environmental aspects, but less likely that we have research focusing on the social aspect of the sustainable product attributes. So this is a new line of research that we have, and which is now could be very, very cool idea for those of you that you may want to just go to these directions. Good. Yeah, related theoretical framework. I think I talked about resource-based view models. Now I would like to talk to you about industrial organization models. So industrial organization models means external environment. And very important framework here that you know for analyzing the external environment would be Pastille framework. Yeah? So how does it link? From not only me, from many researcher perspective here, we will see that this element that we have here, which we call it, for example, here, independent variables. If you go through the, for example, the export performance literatures or marketing literatures, yeah, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, for example, definitely you're going to find, for example, element like firm characteristics. What is a firm characteristics or capabilities? For example, resources that they have. This would be human resources. This would be amount of the capital that they have, capability for innovations, whatever. Yeah, this type of resources that the company has. When you're just looking into the managerial skills, they were thinking about skills that they already have. They were thinking about the risk-taking approach, educations, what do they have? So these are those variables that they were constantly researched during last 20 years, 30 years. I'm not telling you it's not important. They are important, but it's not as much as the new determinants because the external environment changing. And since the external environment changing, we are facing with the new variables coming to the models, and they need to be kind of evaluated. They need to be a kind of measures in these directions. So this is why we will see that even sometimes government as a very, very important part, stakeholders here is imposing certain changes. So the government demanding for new innovative products or demanding more company to be more sustainable, especially in Europe. Yeah, especially in Europe, in certain type of industries are facing difficulties for productions, facing difficulties for consumption of the energies, for example. Yeah, so after the Ukraine crisis that we have, and the problem of receiving gas from Russia, now there is a big move towards sustainable products, sustainable energies that we have here. So it's a very large line of the research, and I would assume during next 5-10 years we're going to have even more of such kind of privacy. But what does the point of the stand? So RBV is resource-based view model. Resource-based view model. This is a theoretical framework, and IO is industrial organization model. Yeah, research-based view and industrial organization model. David, if you have any other questions, you could simply just ask. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So why I'm just entering this one, I would tell you that sustainability, which is a kind of voluntary activity in a certain case, in some case, or in a certain country, certain external environment, we will see that the government imposing tax, or offering certain type of premium, offering certain type of incentives. So the role of the government became even more important here. So government, for example, in European markets, probably they would offer certain incentives, and if you be more sustainable in terms of the productions, but at the same time, for certain industry, definitely they would even put more a kind of penalties and taxations to punish those non-sustainable approach here. So, as always, we have another forms of the view. So since thinking about institutions, and now the role of the institution even became very important here. So institutions here means that from the legal perspective, from a law perspective, from a regulation perspective, what type of regulation imposed to companies. And I don't want to just get into these details, but we know that so many of multinational companies like Philip Morris in the tobacco industries, why they are moving from Western economy toward Indonesians and other economies, because, you know, from the institutional perspectives, those environments are much more friendly for them in order to produce their tobacco and cigarette products, rather than in Europe. Europe are pretty much pushing them into the corner with these perspectives. So at the end, we learned that contingency model or contingency theory would be a better approach here. So we would like to kind of combine all of these externally important and internal variables in order to probably in order to make a better decisions. So not only internal but also external variable might be important here. And very important part, or let's say the underlying factors behind the sustainability approach, would be triple bottom line models. Yeah, triple bottom line model, which is a very basic directions that we always have in our strategic management when we are just make a purpose for our business. So we will see social, environmental aspect and economic aspects, which is linked to a kind of another three goal here: planet, people, and profit. Yeah, and we will see that each business have different type of stakeholders, and each stakeholders might be very keen towards certain type of purpose and certain type of needs and values inside the businesses. Personally, in my market research class, I'm focusing on these directions too. Yeah, and my assumptions, this I found it very, very interesting, because I feel like that new generations like you should have more concern about sustainability. 2012, 2013, I've started my PhD. 2014, I came into the Europe, and I remember my first job interview was I was invited to the interview for a company that they were working in the direction of the sustainability, and sustainability for me was very complicated. It was a kind of mystery. I had no idea about it, yeah, during that times. And but it was just kind of started over. There's companies started, a company like Bayer started to work on these directions, but I was not sure. I was not kind of into this business before. It was a different perspective that we have. 10 years after that, we will see that sustainability became even more important. Yeah, but still, economical aspects of it, it's a big question mark. Yeah? Every year in my market research class, I'm just asking my students in the context of the different research, if they care about the sustainability and sustainable product. I would ask them about sustainable chocolate. I would ask them about sustainable fashion, yeah, sustainable housing options. Everybody wants to have they want to be sustainable. They want to be taking care of the environment. They want to be have environmental friendly attitudes. But when it comes to the economical part and they realize that paying for sustainable product would be more expensive, I would say more than 50% of our research shows that more than 50% of the students and consumers have a big hesitations. Yeah, they are not willing to pay for such kind of sustainable products. Yeah, this is why we will see that in the new line of the research, certain type of researcher link it to the business level strategies. It seems at the moment sustainability is like a differentiations. So companies would like to be sustainable, and because it would be a little bit more costly and put certain type of value, it seems that it's a kind of differentiation, or I would say even sometimes differentiation focuses strategies in this direction. I'm going to show you later in certain framework. Yeah, but it is definitely a new line of research. Definitely a new line of research to link environmental, social, and economical aspects together. Yeah, when it comes to the companies. I mean, this direction is over research. This is very much open recently, but this is yet to be open. Yeah, because we don't know how to measure it. This is a kind of big question mark at the moment for us. How we should design our research in order to see it even from the economical perspective, sustainability is here. I'm quite sure that you have such a good lecturer, professors, that they already told you about the triple bottom line goals and models. But in these directions, I would like to just go to the next one. Just give me a second. Go to my next slide, which was a little bit talking about different directions of the sustainability here. Yeah. From a textbook perspective, yeah, from a textbook perspectives, you're going to see these aspects. Employee welfare, yeah, this is a kind of conceptualizing, but in a certain case, you can even operationalize in this period, because at the end, if you go to the direction of the sustainability, you have the measures, yeah, these are items which just come to your models. So working conditions, how would be the working condition, job design, intellectual property here from an internal perspective, from an external perspectives. You're gonna see products, suppliers, yeah, big topic, big topic, yeah, especially for multinational enterprises, especially for the B2B sectors. I've supervised many research that they want to coming up with a KPI that how they could measure which suppliers are more sustainably friendly. Yeah? And this is even part of the global supply chain, sustainable supply chain management, sourcing. How we could just develop a new KPI in order to make sure that each of the suppliers that we are using are more sustainable in these directions. It goes without saying, if a supplier is sustainable, it doesn't mean that they are going to offer you high quality product or they are going to offer you the cheapest price options. At the end, for a company is going to be metrics that they are going to make the decisions around it. The company might be very sustainable, but in terms of the delivery time, they have issues. it would be very costly in terms of the logistics. So who's going to pay for such kind of product? To what extent managerials or managers are willing to sacrifice production cost to be more sustainable? This is also a big question mark that we have here. So I don't want to go to that much details here, but I would like you to tell you a little bit more about the future directions. These are the future directions to the sustainability. So it used to be a very black and white managerial concepts, innovations, but now we see that literatures and researchers see sustainability as a part of the core competencies together with the marketing. Now we will have sustainable marketing, but we will see even sometimes, I'm going to show you later, there is a direct link between sustainability and the company core competencies. So it means that it used to be quality, research and development, efficiencies, customer responsiveness. Now we will see that literatures offer sustainability as a new element of the core competencies. Link it to the business level structure. I'm going to show you later. Sustainable supply chain. I'll show you from farm to fork. So from which directions we will see that how a company could just implement sustainability and sustainable approach inside the supply chain management structure that they have. This is definitely new directions. Definitely new directions. How we could use a new technology. It is linked to the transparency of the supply chain, and it is linked to the new technology blockchain. Very new. How we could use blockchain in order to create more transparency inside our supply chain. Very, very difficult, for data collections. At the moment, we will see there is less quantitative research here because there are not so many stakeholders outside its business using such kind of context, using such kind of models. This is more like an expert interview approach or case study for those that they were able to kind of apply this blockchain technology inside the supply chain. I would see even different type of research in these directions. Reading the white paper for a different blockchain technology or blockchain project, try to compare them together, do the content analysis for that, so coming up with these directions. Which technology would be a better technology? For example, is it VET framework? Is it kind of Ethereum directions? In which directions? Smart contract. Smart contract. Those of you that you're looking for interdisciplinary topic to work on, linking the information technology through sustainability. This is also new directions that we could just thinking about. Green product, green process. I think we talked about the green process, how we could do it, but now thinking about green product, those elements which is part of the product. Designing of the new product, quality of the product, how much support, how much guarantee that we would offer, how much warranty that we would offer, to taking care of the social aspect, to taking care of the customers who are using such kind of product. To what extent we would show some respect to the consumer law and consumer right here. So green product and green process, green innovations, I'll talk to you about it. New line, you will see that this one. You will see Chinese researcher very much into these directions, and they would like to see the role of institutions and, for example, in these directions, how governmental support, how incentives offered by the government push them toward using of innovations and using of the sustainability. Here is a big question mark. In order to put it into the nutshell, imagine China is export-oriented culture, export-oriented economy. They want to export the product, for example, to Germany. To Germany. In order to have economies of scales, all of you have had from your professors that yeah, companies need to reach to certain type of efficiencies by offering more or by having more market share here and there, then they're going to have economies of scale, then they could just reduce the production cost. Yes, but those products that they could send to Germany and those products that, for example, you could send, for example, to Turkey, from a sustainability perspectives are not the same. Yeah. From a government perspective, from a taxation perspective, from the specification perspectives, you know that if I'm not mistaken, since 2 years, Indonesia, Malaysia has difficulties for exporting of the palm oil to Europe. Why? Yeah, this is one of the difficulties that we have. This is a difference between institutions in the host and the home markets. Yeah, in Indonesia or in the regions, you don't have that much issues. But when it comes to the export markets, why there is a concern about palm oil and exporting of the palm oil over there. It's not only about Indonesia, it's about how IKEA had difficulties in India. It's about how IKEA have difficulties in Russia, yeah, for producing goods. It's about how Nike dealing with this child labor, forced labor in Vietnam, in Malaysia. Yeah, this is all about this aspect that we are talking about. Sustainability in product and service developments. I would see it more through these directions. Yeah, only different type of terminology here. They were using green process. I think something which I forgot to put it here: green strategy. Green strategy. There's another different type of terminology that you will see. I would like to show you some research, some research on how they have been applied. So I like these researchers. Yeah, they are basically they are from Spain, and the way that they are just setting their models are quite simple, but at the same time they are very to the point and simple and help us to learn something. So they see sustainability and they see also cooperative image, cooperative image. So brand image, how brand image could be important in this direction. So they just link the sustainability to the export performance. Before moving further, I feel like that I've had forgot to explain a little bit about export performance here. Exporting, all of you know what it's about. It's about kind of exchange goods and services, send goods and services to different countries here in this direction. So what is export performance? It would be one measurement that we technically use in order to benchmark a kind of successful exporters from a kind of a failure options, or a failure case here. How we are evaluating them? We are evaluating from a strategy perspective. We would evaluate them from a financial perspectives or economical perspectives. And recently, we could evaluate them from environmental perspective. So a strategy performance, financial performance, or economical performance, sometimes they call it, and environmental performance. Export performance is already like 40 years in the literature. So you're going to see so many different type of articles about export performance. It should be quite important even for tourism industry, Dr. Babol. I don't know how much you have heard about it, but we have even inward exporting here. Yeah, we have inward exporting, and even those restaurants that are selling goods and services to the tourism, they could consider as export here. So export performance over research, but environmental performance, it means that those capability for the company that led to develop a green product, sustainable products, is a kind of new emerging topic. So it means that you could just put all elements that they were analyzed before, and in this direction link it to the environmental performance. So if you check the environmental performance definitions, the definition is very black and white. So that if a company has certain capabilities to innovate new sustainable products, Yeah, there's a big gap here. Yeah, producing and innovating of the new product, it doesn't mean that the customer is going to adopt it. Yeah. How about adaptation rate, adaptations by customers? If this innovative product which is designed and offered to the markets, is it designed based on the idea of the entrepreneurs, or is it kind of taken from the needs of the markets? This is why there's new element which used to be in this line of literature for like 15 years, but now it's kind of missing to be tested in these new directions. It could be new contribution that you could have: export, marketing, or market orientations, market research. Yeah. To what extent our market research is framed in the direction of the sustainability, to design a product, to have this environmental performance, but at the same time, this design is going to link to adoption process. So market is kind of accepted. Market also help us to really get such kind of products. I'm going to talk about innovation orientation even later, but this is new line of research, see innovations together with the export performance. This is operationalizing of the variables. Yeah, so how we could operationalize and check these variables. So definitely in a good articles, you could find those operational variables that would help you to design your questionnaires. Yeah, design your questionnaires in order to give you better content validities. Yeah, and definitely later on convergent validity for you would be high. It goes without saying, limitations are here would be because this research conducted in one element, so especially in one country like Spain, Sevilla in Spain. Cross-sectional, one time collecting of the data, one time analyzing of the data, we call it like a cross-sectional design. And you know that we have different type of cross-sectional data collections and cross-sectional one. We have even longitudinal. This is a wish. Yeah, this is a kind of dream for a researcher in the area of this export performance to have longitudinal research. They are very rare. Yeah, we almost have nothing, or we have very, very rare these directions. Trying to see that how companies, by changing up the strategy, reach to a better performance or lower performance here. This researcher suggested to implement different intangible aspects here. For example, brand. Yeah, here we have corporate image. Let's put it brand here. Let's put it maybe patent here. Yeah, innovative patents that we could have here. But this is a kind of just brainstorming idea that I would have here. So future direction in this direction was, of course, check the validity of the research. So repeated validity is about reputations in a different external environment. Try to see how this external environment changing. As you can see here, although the researcher said that check the different external environment, but we don't have any kind of external environment variable here. Yeah? This is another gap that we have. So all of these sustainable models can be checked with considering of the external environment factors. I'm going to show you later. So my main message here, sustainability as a key driver, as a part of core competencies, not only this one, another literature. So 3 years later, same researcher came up with this approach. Yeah, so they see entrepreneurial culture, sustainability again here, innovation orientation, capacity of the improvement. Yeah, capacity of the improvement here, innovation capability, innovation capability, and innovation capacity. It's something else as well. Yeah, to what extent our company has this capacity, develop such kind of capacities inside our business to be more let me see what David wrote here. So it can be said that the cross-sectional study refers to the research study that has been conducted with a certain defined generations or defined time. Yes, yeah, but very simple. If you just do a kind of cross-sectional research, it means that I'm just distributing my questionnaire now. I'm just giving like 1 or 2 months time to it, collect my data and just analyze it. Yeah? So this would be a cross-sectional design. So very defined, but it's very difficult to say defined time because we have different type of cross-sectional design. Sometimes I could collect data, for example, in 2022, but I collect like, for example, 5 samples. Yeah. But I would analyze one of my sample in 2023, one of them in 25, one of them in 26, one of them, for example, in 30. Yeah, it's still cross-sectional design, but one-time sampling, one-time analyzing. All of the samples just taken in 2022, but it's, for example, this 5 samples is analyzed in different times, still cross-sectional design. We have even cohort analysis here, still cross-sectional. I don't want to go to that directions, but for example, in election time, every 4 years, imagine there's an election every 4 years, so 18 to 21, then 22 to 25, for example, then 26 to 29 here. So I have like 3 cohorts for elections, and in 2020, if this would be elections, and I would like to check the willingness of the different participants toward voting. So technically, if in 2020, if I'm just collecting data from those people aged between 18 to 21, and then I'm just collecting again this data in 2024, because every 4 years I'm collecting such kind of data. This is less likely that I'm collecting from the same people here, still cross-sectional design, but they call it cohort analysis here. I'm sure that in your market research or in your academic research, you will, or scientific working, you're going to have such kind of thing. So cross-sectional, one-time collect data, one-time analysis. David, did I answer the question? Please just write me in the chat. Or good. So limitation of the research was cross-sectional. Sure. So it was cross-sectional. It was conducted in one country, so we have to check it again, check it with the different external environments. So probably could you use the same models, just take it to Indonesia, it might make a sense. Again here, mediation's role of the corporate image. So they want to even see to what extent, for example, the corporate image could work, or another different type of mediation rule. Or, from my perspective, moderations. If we would be able to test and collect the data from 2 different external environments or 2 different industry, and try to see that how these moderations kind of working. Last week I was in a kind of a workshop from a professors of that she was top reviewer, and she has she was also an editor of one of the A-ranked journals, and she just gave us a tip for how to publish an articles. And she said that she said 2 interesting things. I'm going to tell you first, this one related to this topic that we are talking. She said, it doesn't really make your research unique when you are using too many moderators in the models. Yeah, you have to always use a moderators in a setting that it was make a sense. Yeah, it doesn't make a sense that you have many moderator tested over them and said that there were no moderations effect. So it's much more make a sense to use a moderators if the direction of the result would be different. If the difference was between female and male. If the differences would between, I don't know, manufacturing industries and the service industry, then it would be make a sense for you to, from at least from her perspective, to use a moderations. Another very interesting things that she said that it's too much if you are using more than 3 theoretical framework in one paper. This was the same study that I already showed you, that now researchers try to link sustainability to the business level strategy, and they call it like a product positioning. And you will see even different type of elements in terms of the sustainability coming to the model here. So green business strategy that we talked about it, all different type of set of action a company may put into the place in order to avoid the negative downside of the not be sustainable, and link it to the product positioning. So green product differentiations and cost leadership to compare this approach. Green human resource asset. So it is entrepreneurial orientation in these directions. To what extent those resources, those human resources that we have, that are thinking about innovations and thinking about be able to produce innovative products or sustainable approach or sustainable thinking. Yeah, so this would be one of the assets even for the companies. Environmental orientations. Yeah, this would be another directions that we have here. So to what extent the company would case. So now we will see that the model, can you see the research? Now the models are trying to really just make a combinations between external and internal variable. You don't have to, or you don't have to have it, right? But if you have it, of course, you buy yourself more challenge and more difficulties in terms of the data, because you need to just cover a different type of theoretical framework here. But your research is going to be much more valid and probably more interesting here. Good. So what would be the future direction research in this regard? Considering the public concern, considering the environmental regulations. So instead of just having environmental orientations, go one step further and now focusing on regulations, institutions, how these things might be different. Definitely, it might be even working as a kind of moderator variable here. As you can see, we have even kind of a moderator's effect here, more or less here. Or using green business strategies and proactive green business strategies. So we have reactive, when you have been pushed by one of your stakeholders to go to these directions, but this proactiveness would be important. And since this is proactive, you could even link it to the managerial approach. So one of the very important directions for measuring the managerial approach would be proactiveness or reactiveness. That they already have toward just pushing toward innovations and toward sustainabilities. Okay, this is another topic which is very interesting from my perspective. I told you before, and it is more about implementing blockchain in supply chain. So this is how a supply chain, how blockchain technology working. Yeah, I'm not an expert in the blockchain, yeah, but simple things that you need to know about the blockchain. Nobody could just change the certain type of transaction unless 50% of the users agreed on it, yeah. So then we don't need a third parties. Based on the smart contract, everything's going to be transparent and you can control everything. Knowing a little bit more about the blockchain, we have two different types of blockchains. We have a private blockchain and we have a public blockchain. We will see that even this private one is more using into the B2B businesses. So what does it mean? This is the main aim that the blockchain is trying to help us. Poor product qualities. Yeah, so they said that the source for the product is Vietnam, but we know that the product coming from China. They changed the certificate of the origin. Nobody could just do anything else. Most of the countries are under the sanctions. They're trying to use the third-party countries and change the certificate of the origin. So it's a very sad but true story. Most of the product which is exporting from Iran, exporting from Venezuela, those countries that are in the sanctions, the documents and changing in the third countries, and nobody could really just realize it, yeah. But if we would be able to use this blockchain technologies, then nobody can change it. So if the certificate of the origin issues in the 1st of September, you can change the certificate of origin in, I don't know, 1st of March next year. So the certificate of the origin would be still on the block, and nobody can change it. So this is create more transparency. This is increased trustfulness. This is increased trust between the certain stakeholder here. Is it easy to be implemented? No. We are yet to achieve to that directions. Different blockchain technology, we have different blockchain companies now offering their products and offering their services here. There's still a big question mark about blockchain, because so many people think that blockchain is only just Bitcoin and Ethereum and other cryptocurrency. It is not. Yeah, it's one direction of the blockchain is these cryptocurrencies, which is a very volatile market. Every one of us know about it. But using blockchain in B2B business definitely is a future. I told you even before, this is more like very difficult cases that we have. Good. Then I would push a little bit Dr. Babolian, because I know that the students might want to ask question at the end later. This is another very interesting topic that we have now, corporate social responsibilities, but breaking down corporate social responsibility to the second type of elements here. Yeah, CSR tools, environmental related, corporate social responsibility, workplace related. If you remember, I showed you before in the triple bottom line these directions. Yeah, it was linked to the workplace, environmental place, and different type of stakeholders here. As you can see here, again, it is linked to the competitiveness. So it's very similar to the core competency or the business level structure that we talked together about. So now we will see that things just became much more make a sense here. Or intangible performance. This was even very new. I never see in the literature somebody came up with this idea of intangible performance. Probably he or she means that how different type of patented product might be here in these directions. Business environment, green leadership, yeah, environmental culture, environmental capacity in the firm level. This is a few future directions in this line of studies. Green innovation is just used as a mediators here. How about the kind of direct mediators and a direct relationship here? So how about use them either as mediators or a direct relationship? It was also another topic that we have. I think I've already talked about sustainable product attribute before. These are those directions. Health, safety, fair trade, very big topic. Yeah, fair trade, very big topic. Yeah, that we have together. Labeling here. This is the new directions here. If I'm not mistaken, this is my last slides here, and I wanted to show you how external environments now being linked here. So how governmental interventions. I'm just hosting symposium in sustainability for 3 years between our universities and Malaysian universities and Southeast Asia researchers. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Babolian was with us last year. Big concern, or the big difference, sustainability in Europe started from individual, started from companies. What I've already understood, please correct me if I'm wrong, sustainability in Southeast Asia, not always, but in certain cases started with the government. So everybody expected from government to do something here. There's a big different perspectives, even inside the researcher. This is why this is also research from another Chinese researcher that we will see here, and they see even governmental intervention here. In the European aspect, you will see less governmental intervention here because we are looking into the mixed economy or capitalism or free market here. So this is why less likely to have less governmental intervention here. But here we will see effect of the governmental interventions over the environmental innovation capacity. To what extent a company has certain type of capability inside their business in order to control the negative impact of their productions to be more sustainable, or what type of technological capability that they have to improve the process, to improve the product to be more sustainable. And we have now environmental performance in this research, which is introduced as a kind of complementary factors toward the export performance. Me personally see it together even somehow, yeah, but it depends on how would you measure the environmental performance. Only by managing to produce goods, or is there any chance for us to measure the financial or economical performance of these goods which is produced over there? Last not the least, here we have specifically assess green innovation as a mediator, for example, here. Maybe future direction could really consider competitiveness, business leadership and green innovation as a kind of capacities in firm level to see to what extent that might be important for our business here.
Dr. Mehran, I want to ask something about the issue about environment. I just want to talk about in Indonesian is government intervention and in government rules is not side to side, because when we are want to explore about the government about a sustainable product, it is highly cost for the manufacturing, and then the technology. The technology is a high-tech technology, and then maybe the category of the industry is for 5.0 because it's using Internet of Things or others. Maybe it will be highly for the products for selling. So I see about the variable in internal and external that you are decided for this paper. I just want to know about the country level that you suggest about the external in your side, just not at the theory, but and in your place about the research objects, sir.
Okay.
Can you explain about it?
Sure. If I understood you correctly, Andre, if I understood you correctly, first of all, you have to decide if it is a B2B directions or B2C directions. Yeah. As you mentioned, sustainable products are expensive. Yeah. Because you have to just consider different type of costs. You have to consider quality. You have to consider services that you want to offer. My main question here, if you consider it B2C, then you could ask individual directly. For example, you could focus on certain type of customers. Normally, I would do it this way. I would try to compare generations, Generation X, Generation Y, baby boomers, in order to see that what would be their approach towards sustainability here, and if they are willing to pay. So technically, then you could ask questions related to the willingness to pay and willingness to adoptions of the sustainable approach. And of course, very important would be industry. Yeah. There might be a case that people would like to have a sustainable car, but they don't care about maybe sustainable, I don't know, pen or pencil. Yeah? They do care about car, but they don't care about pencil. They do care about car, but they don't care about the sustainable housing. They do care about sustainable housing. It was a really research that we already made to check to what extent students care about sustainabilities, and if, for example, the source for the electricity is coming from solar or gas for them was different. It was different until we talked about the rent price, or until we talked about the cost of the buying apartments. When it was too costly, it was less likely that so many people wants to buy it or wants to invest in it. So very important is if it is B2B or if it is B2C. If it is B2B, then you have to understand different stakeholders that you have here, and very important which industries, because willingness to pay for sustainable product for the different industries are different here. Andrew, did I answer your questions or did I miss something?
I already get it about the point you are suggest about the strategy marketing on B2B or B2C. So in your current condition about your research is on a B2B or B2C, because I can hear you clearly when I'm in the first side, because I'm still driving on it.
Both, Andre. Yeah. When I would like to check Gen Z and millennials, I would like to see their approach toward adopting of the sustainable product, which is the fashion. This is chocolate, food and beverage, housing options. So it's a kind of B2C for me. But when I'm just in the area of the export performance, it's only B2B. Yeah, export performance is only B2B here. You see my points?
Okay, I got a point.
Yeah.
Okay, but that you are only on the side that's not just only the side of the industry, but also in the side of the customer. Okay, is that's your point on your research, right?
Both, yeah, both directions. You could just see it from the perspective of the customers. You could just see it from the perspective of the businesses. Both directions would be possible. I would say depends on how much effort that you want to say. I would say the B2B part more like a kind of if it is a quantitative research, it's like a PhD research or a kind of big project. If it could be B2B, your supervisor should kind of give you advice. But if you want to go to the direction of the B2B for a master thesis, I would advise you to go after the qualitative research, maybe expert interview in these directions. It would be much more manageable for you to do it in the context of the master thesis. But if you want to do a quantitative research, because at the end, it's, in one direction is about quantitative and qualitative. There are certain qual guy we have or quant guy we have. If you want to do a quantitative research, definitely you have to go to the B2C directions.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the answer.
Sure. I think we have like a couple of questions in the chat. Let me see that. Okay, first question from Ryan. So I'm sorry, a bit new to this topic, but I want to ask on how does green company work if Bitcoin and cryptocurrency create a large carbon footprints? It's a big topic, yeah, Ryan. Bitcoin, or let's say proof of work and proof of stake is like two different directions that we have. So as you can see, Bitcoin is unique at the moment because they have the first mover advantage. They have a brand image in the direction of the cryptocurrency that they have. But if Bitcoin is sustainable, definitely not. We will see the discussion recently Elon Musk has with others stakeholders here that they said that if Bitcoin miners would manage to use sustainable source of energy, that might a little bit reduce or calm down the concept of the environmentalist. But if you're asking me, Bitcoin is it green? It's definitely not a green technology. Definitely at the moment. Even we will see that Ethereum, which is another very innovative directions, because I don't see that much in Bitcoin as innovative. I see more Ethereum as innovative because they were kind of changing each other's. And we will see that even Ethereum is now changing from proof of working to proof of stakes. We will see Cardano do almost go to the same directions, or many different type of cryptocurrency project go to these directions, because there is no way for raising up the resources here, especially with the current crisis that we have in Europe for the Ukraine war. Yeah, so this doesn't really make a sense for producing such kind of goods in these directions. So I hope that I've already answered your question, Ryan. If still something left, please just write me over there, or simply open your mic and ask me. Is green innovation and sustainability related to green taxonomy? Yes and no. Now, this is green taxonomy is a new terminology that we have here. How would you define green taxonomy for me? Bagos, if I'm not mistaken. So if you just answered, could you please just define green taxonomy for me?
Yes, actually, I confused about green taxonomy because last thing I remember, the green taxonomy is talk about every aspect in this world, like finance, like entrepreneur, like everything is going to the next terminology, this green taxonomy. I'm confused. Is it same sustainability and green taxonomy, and how we apply green taxonomy in finance and everything? Everything is green. I'm confused. Thank you. That's my question actually.
Sure. Thank you very much for explanations. And I would like to just use this chance to make it a kind of general comment here. Whenever you would go to this direction, please make sure that those directions that you are going, or those directions that you would go with your research, is kind of supported by the other researcher in these directions. Yeah. So if you have enough literature that using this green taxonomy as a kind of key terminology here, and if you define it well from a perspective of the literature, so you have a kind of history behind how this green taxonomy just created here, then you would be able to even answer this question yourself. So as far as green taxonomy link through how a business, either finance or either any other discipline here, how a business use innovations in order to develop new product and services which deal with the concern of the environmentalist, to create a product or kind of change the process to make a product or to make a process more environmentally friendly, then they are related together. Yeah. If not, then we have to see the definitions again together. Did I answer the questions, Vegas?
Yeah. Okay. I get it. Thank you.
Sure. I like to continue from Ryan's questions. What is your opinions about environmental organization like WWF selling NFT, which is supposed not environmentally friendly? NFT is a different topic. Yeah, this non-fungible tokens that we have here, it's a kind of big market, especially during the boom times of the cryptocurrencies. It's a kind of it was a big. I would see it as a very new topic, but there's a big concern about how much they are environmentally friendly, because we have to consume and we have to see the concern of the stakeholders. So for each NFT or for each company, we have to just first do the stakeholder analysis, try to make sure that who is the stakeholders and how different stakeholders might benefit from this product, or might negatively or positively impacted by such kind of product. Then we could just argue if it is sustainable or if it is sustainable or if it's not sustainable here. But not knowing the company and not knowing how these NFT create a value or kind of not creating any kind of value, is very difficult to make any kind of a specific comment here. But personally, I would see NFT as a new word in the area of the blockchain technologies. To what extent are environmental friendly? It's very linked to technology that they are using. And we have to see it from a perspective of a social and environmental perspectives. Yeah, because if you're just thinking about energy, like the discussions that we talked about Bitcoin, it's more like environmental perspectives. For NFT, I would really see more into social perspectives. Do you see my points? Fitriani, did I answer your questions?
Interested because there's like a lot of
I'm sorry, I have difficulty
article.
hearing you. Fitriani, I have difficulty of hearing you. Could you please maybe write in the chat, and then I probably could be easily.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Sorry. So Ryan, to further continue from my question, how far has Green Company progressed over time to make Bitcoin mining and be more green, environmental friendly? If it's speaking about Bitcoin, as far as miners, I mean, at the moment, yeah, as far as miner would be able to use a sustainable source of energy for mining, it seems we could just call them environmental friendly, but there's a big concern at the moment about proof of stakes or proof of work. So we will see generally proof of stake is more sustainable rather than the proof of working. Bitcoin is set based on the proof of work. So this is a big environmental concern that we have. So as far as I know, there is most of the Bitcoin is already produced and lots of energies are consumed for production of the Bitcoins. And we know that Bitcoin is generally produced in not mainly in the Western country at the moment or Western economy, because the cost of energy and the cost of electricities are quite high. It's just produced in a developing economy. Yeah. So, and it seems that the source for production of such kind of the electricity source for production of such kind of goods or such kind of Bitcoins are not really environmentally friendly. So this is definitely an issue. But Ryan, please consider crypto is one direction of the crypto of the blockchain technology. This is one direction only. Ryan, tell me if I answer your questions. How exactly can introduce and coax people to go eco-friendly and do more green innovation when in fact majority of the eco-friendly innovation stuff are more expensive than not so friendly products? The good question, Katya. It's about value. How we are convincing people to, I don't know, buy bamboo toothbrush. Yeah. There are certain people that prefer to have bamboo toothbrush. So it's about value. It's about better segmentations inside the market. It's about defining of the target customers and defining of the value for the certain target customers. Definitely, if you're just thinking about Maslow pyramid, yeah, those people that they were kind of struggling for their basic needs, you cannot really expect them to be more sustainable or care about the sustainable products. Sustainability is about education, is about educating people about what is sustainability and what is sustainability is about. It's about educating them about how we could keep this planet to still be a livable place for the next generations. Yeah. Sustainability is it's not really kind of greenwashing. It's about a certain type of responsibility that we have towards the next generations. And as much as me as a professor would be able to talk in my class, in my lectures about sustainability, and you as a researcher, as a student care about it and talk together, you start developing certain type of behavior. Definitely it takes time, yeah. But how we could just push people to use more eco-friendly products. First, you have to push companies to produce eco-friendly product, because certain type of productions could be environmentally friendly if they simply change certain process inside the industries. If they're willing to invest, for example, in solar panel rather than just using these unsustainable source of the energies that they already have here. Difficult to answer, yeah, but I would say education. So if it is not really linked to any kind of research, I would say education. So I would see in the developing economies, so it's more role of the government to supporting education, to supporting knowledge sharing between universities, in universities for people. So we're pushing company by imposing tax, by imposing certain type of law in order to push them to be more sustainable. And if they go to that directions, definitely the only way one of the way to reducing the cost would be technology. Innovation and technology would be one of the means that you could just probably in future you can reduce the costs of the productions. Don't know how much I answer your question. Tell me if it's still some things left. Good. Ryan got his answer. So thank you for your questions. I'm actually a bit concerned about this from a social perspective, where there is a bad stigma in the public about NFT non-environmental friendly. Okay, you just see non-environmental friendly. Okay, I was thinking that the NFT you just talked about non-fungible tokens here. What's your opinions to organizations that strongly support environmental would use this model, but non-environmental friendly? Fitriani, could you please maybe explain it yourself, because I'm still not sure if I understood your question correctly.
Yes, actually, there's when we're talking about NFT, there's a lot of like stigma in public that NFT is all like not environment friendly. But then there's WWF who suddenly sell NFT while they actually support environment. So I think that's like a little bit of or like an irony there. Like they're selling something that is not environmental friendly while they're actually an environmental kind of organization. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious in your take in this.
Very generally, I could answer these questions. If you remember the first discussions that I already just told you, I told you about those variable that we have in these models recently changing. So it used to be, I don't know, managerial characteristics. It used to be firm characteristics. It used to be, I don't know, marketing orientations. Now is about sustainability. But the concern is the same concern, is the production costs. Yeah. The main important things for us would be that how a company on one hand could reduce the production costs, on the other hand, how a company could convince people to just more and more go for such kind of products. There's a bad stigma in public about non-environmental friendly product. Yes, most of us would like to just consume environmentally friendly product, but on what costs? How a small medium-sized company with limited financial capability and with limited capitals could invest on innovations without support of the government, without supporting of the different stakeholders that they could really offer them some support over there to be innovative. How large companies could really not change their attitudes toward producing of the sustainable goods while the government do not care. Why we have a shift from these non-sustainable tobacco industries from Western economy to Indonesia, to Malaysia, to Vietnam, to Colombia? Because government simply doesn't care. Government want them to invest over their state. They love their investment and capital and foreign direct investment that they are bringing to that markets. It's a big concern. Sustainability is not about, on one hand, it's about me and you, personal decisions, but it's also, especially in the in developing economies, about the supporting of the government as well in these directions. Difficult questions. I don't know how much I was able to answer your questions, Fetriani.
Yes, thank you. I think, yeah, it's in the end, it's like there's going to be a lot of people, and not a lot of people, a lot of organization and also government to solve it, I think, because the hard thing about, yeah, production costs and sustainability.
Good.
I think that's your point.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. So, Jocelyn, if I'm not mistaken with your name, first, thank you for insightful presentation. I basically just want to ask regarding your point of view in CSV, creating shared value business model. I feel like in the today's society, we need more than just CSR in the answering of the sustainable issue. Can you explain more about this if you also agree? And maybe any opinion from your concern concerning this matter. Thank you very much. Creating shared value. Could you a little bit explain more about CSV? I don't want to go to the directions that is telling you something wrong. Can you explain for me a little bit more about CSV from your perspective?
Okay, hi, Dr. Mehran. My name is Jocelyn.
Hello.
So Yeah. So I mean, today, actually, I'm working in a company regarding sustainability. So I'm in a business development and sustainability department. And in 2022, we are now engaging in CSV business model, in which we give the community like a product, and this product will benefiting the society, like the farmers. You perhaps you know solar dryer dome. Yeah. So like the farmers can produce their their food from before maybe 7 days, now only 3 to 4 days, with like better quality and faster production. And they also can sell their product with a higher price. So indirectly, by doing CSR, or like, yeah, we give the product, so the government buy the product from us, and then the community is benefiting from that. And from there, they can become an agripreneur. So it's not like just, CSR is just you donate something and that's it. But like in CSV, it's not just it. You give something, and the impact is much more bigger than just CSR. That's what I mean by CSV, actually.
Thank you very much. Now I got what you mean.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with you, right? I told you the CSR is a bit outdated right now. Yeah, so we will see that different economy and different companies go to the different directions. So if I remember correctly, I also told you, when we are just talking about corporate social responsibility and sustainability, very, very important would be our stakeholder. So from the explanations that you already gave me, government, farmers, consumers, they are very important stakeholders. So if we would be able to create these shared values, yeah, and to kind of link and pledge the value of the one stakeholder to other stakeholders, then we're going to have more responsible, and then we're going to have more responsibility over there. Definitely, this is a new topic. This is a very, very interesting topic for research if you could do that directions. And if your company implemented such kind of value, I would like to know more about it, and I would like to see that what would be the role of the entrepreneurship and innovation in these directions, because definitely you need to have a very good innovation technology inside your company, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mehran, for this evening guest lecturing session. I actually want to, let's say, ask your opinion about research topic that is suitable to the Indonesian setting. As you might know, in Indonesia, our customers are not really willing to pay more for the sustainable products or green products, let's say. And our government is not really, let's say, imposing the practice of the sustainable process in the manufacturing, although they already ask about the sustainable reporting and all those kind of things. And also with regards to the, let's say, take an example of the electric vehicle. This is a very good initiative, actually. But then again, if just like what you said, we combine the triple bottom line, we look at the aspect of the economic, the aspect of the people, the social aspect of it, the environmental aspect of it, it doesn't really match here. Because in Europe, maybe what you have there is incentives for customers to buy electric vehicles or other, let's say, or using renewable energy sources. But in here, if we buy electric vehicles, we get higher tax, as if this is a luxury goods. So, yeah, so this is difficult. This is making us difficult to conduct research about the sustainability. If we take a perspective from the firm, then it would be quite complicated to get data. But if we use the unit of analysis of individual consumers, somewhat we can predict the result, that they don't really care, or they don't want to pay more because of the price is way, let's say even 50% more than the the non-sustainable solutions, non-sustainable products. So what research topics that you think we can offer to our students, for example, or for us to conduct here that is really suitable to this situation?
Thank you very much for imposing these difficult questions that you already have. To be honest, I was in the same positions before. We know that sometimes sustainability is a very luxury topic for us here. Still, I think a case study could be a very good approach that we have. A friend of mine who has a consultancy in strategies and sustainability, so recently they managed to have a very good contract with the governmental sector in Malaysia, and they are now approaching to the different countries over there. I do agree with you. Yeah, it's a kind of maybe in a very introduction phase in that countries, and probably it's more luxurious things over there. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to be started. Of course, the sustainability is not about those fancy packaging which is coming with the bamboo or coming with kind of biodegradable products. It's much more about it. It's about the working conditions. It's about the health condition of the people. It's about the social aspect of the production. It's about caring about people who are working for you. And maybe we don't have that much budget to implement the whole aspect of the sustainability, but I believe there is still possibility for a multinational company to implement it. We're living in the globalized world, so sooner or later it comes to that direction. You know, they can't ignore it anymore. 10 years ago, I came here, I was studying my PhD in Malaysia. I came here and sustainability for me was quite new topic, but it was a kind of topic that the people work on it. I even had no idea about it. I was asking myself why they're caring that much about it. But after 10 years of living here, I realized that this is a topic which I have to work on it too. And I have to even have a lecture about it. And I have to even talk to people about it. And to put it in a nutshell, I still see that the sustainability could be an approach for a small, medium-sized company, especially for a startup, because this would be the only way for them to kind of survive this battle. So this is why probably it's difficult to have it in a quantitative research, but at least it could have been started with the qualitative research with the smaller samples in a startup, try to link it to the innovations, innovation and sustainabilities. And if there's a startups that coming up with a sustainable new product, they do not need to sell it in Indonesia. It could be a born global approach, it could be beyond that market. But I would say multinational companies, or let's say large companies, still could be a very good case study to benchmark them against the same pair in the European markets or in the Western markets. But for the new people over there, I mean, for the consumer perspective, still we could do our research. We could still see that how changing attitudes towards sustainability is over there important. Tourism, I mean, sustainable tourism for Indonesia is something which is very cool from my perspective. So I don't know, not an expert in that field. Maybe Dr. Babolyan should say something about it, but I feel like certain industries in Indonesia could be more attractive for sustainabilities. Tourism, sustainable hospitalities.
Yes, nowadays they move a lot of changes to move to green sustainability, especially in tourism and also in airline industries. Indonesia, it's quite popular nowadays in here.
And I see that. I mean, sooner or later it's going to go to these directions. But important things would be that how much it would be greenwashing, how much it would be real sustainability aspect issues. I had this discussion with Prof. Perry before, and I saw that there are so many companies that realize that they have to do something about sustainability, and they try to do something. But and they are investing on the sustainability. But the important thing would be that how much of the things that they are currently doing and reporting and promoting on their web page, how much is greenwashing, how much is really sustainability aspects, how much they are creating values, or the share value that one of your students already mentioned. It's kind of very new topic at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mehran. You just remind me about a new trend here. Actually, it's not really taking up, but there are some companies or let's say small medium enterprise that is doing this what we call as trashion. So it is a fashion made out of trash. So it is coming out of plastics or sometimes from the used clothes, and they just take pieces from the old clothes and then make it into like into the part of the new clothes. And they can also reuse the button, for example, from the old clothes. And then but from the business perspective, this is not yet proven whether it is really sustainable also from the economic perspective, because this is very new.
True. I'm also teaching in another university in Berlin and a market research course, and I remember that I have 2 Ukrainian students that they just made their own startups, and they were buying the second-hand clothes and redesigning the second-hand clothes. I couldn't say they were quite successful. I was not able to follow up with them, but they started in Berlin, and it's very important, where do you start sustainability? And it is one of the topics that I intentionally not telling anything to my student until it just reached to a very final presentation, and I asked them, okay, in which market you're going to start sustainability, and push them to use the Google Trend. And then from a Google Trends, we just searching up the sustainability, they realize that in which country, how many times sustainability, or I don't know, these keywords is kind of repeated. And if I'm not mistaken, the last time that we were checking the sustainability, it was somewhere in Czech Republic, and one specific area in Germany there was high number of the search is about sustainability. Kind of, we could indirectly say that maybe that market could be the good market for starting up product. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, I have a student that maybe they are hesitant to ask you questions with regards to the entrepreneurship, because I remember that you mentioned in the first few minutes of this session that you are also open for discussion about entrepreneurship. Is that okay, Dr. Mehran?
Sure. If there would be any kind of questions about entrepreneurship, I would be happy to answer.
Rosabella, are you going to ask questions?
No, Miss.
Okay, so let me let's say ask some questions also with regards to the entrepreneurship. The topic is actually about women entrepreneurship and the sustainability of the business in the small medium enterprise, Dr. Mehran, and they have let's say a difficulty, or let's say they find challenges to find the framework to be used to explain this phenomenon, that housewives as entrepreneurs, as let's say in a small medium enterprise, how they can sustain the business, especially if you're talking about Indonesian situation in which it is quite patrilineal, and women are expected to do house chores. So is there any framework or umbrella theory that can explain this phenomenon, how housewives as entrepreneurs in small medium enterprise can how do you call it, can maintain the business so that the business will be sustainable?
Difficult to answer from that perspective about the framework, but there is a very good researcher in Poland. His name is Professor Dr. Habil Christoph Wach. I'm just writing it for you here.
Thank you so much.
His main approach is about sustainabilities and entrepreneurship and sustainabilities. Let me see if I have, because I'm also currently working on technically on that direction as well, and I might be able to share with you one of his research that he was pretty much working on sustainability, on entrepreneurship. I'm trying to find it from a different perspective and different dimension that he has. Difficult for me to find it right now, but I might be able to send it to you later. So he just made a very, very good review on sustainability, and he just he just called it entrepreneurial orientations, yeah. And he just introduced 3 dimensions to it. And if I'm not mistaken, okay, yes, I found it. So let me just share with you my review here. So am I still host here? I'm not host here. Can someone make me host? Okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. It can be okay. So maybe it was even good chance for me to even share my Excel sheet to the students. So this is the different type of terminology that you were using here. I try to find it again here. You can see this one, right? This is that one. So entrepreneurship marketing. Yes, here. Number 53, entrepreneurial orientation, perceived as a strategic construct derived from a concept of the strategic management. 3 fundamental elements of the entrepreneurial orientation is innovativeness, proactiveness, and risk-taking abilities. They were using these 3 dimensions and operationalize it in these 3 dimensions. And he just mentioned it in his articles about how you can operationalize this innovativeness, proactiveness, and risk-taking approach in order to measure entrepreneurial orientations. And on that direction, you could simply link it to the sustainability, but in that direction, I would link it to sustainable product attributes. Yeah, I would just link it to that product attributes. And if you want to go to read more about sustainable product attributes, I would suggest another studies which you give me a second, I could even share this study with you. I don't know if you can still see my screen here. There's another studies.
Yeah, yes, I can.
Can you see this study which I'm sharing with you, or is it still Excel sheet that you can see?
It's the Excel sheet.
Yeah, I'm gonna just share with you another study here. I'm just putting it into the chat. This is also a very interesting paper that might help you. This is the name of the paper. And I would try to share with you even this literature, this paper from these professors that I've already we start working on it together. So I would even share the name of these articles with you. It's a very, very good review. Entrepreneurship orientation and business internationalization process, the theoretical foundation and international entrepreneurship, Christopher. It's 2015, but it's a very good one. It just solves so many of the issues for measurement and the line of direction. These 2 articles pretty much helping you.
We cannot see the article. Yeah.
I think I just sent it directly to Dr. Babolian. Let me just change it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then I will get it from Rusbeh then.
No,
Thank you,
this one
Rus.
I'm going to change it. Just give me a minute. Just 2 articles now.
Oh, in the chat. Okay.
In the chat is 2 articles pretty much helping you for sustainable product attributes and for entrepreneurship orientations.
Thank you so much, Dr.
But
Mehran.
anyway, entrepreneurship orientations, if you want to just use it to measure it, the 3 dimensions I just told you would be the most standard dimensions that you could use to, to measure.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehran.
Pleasure. So,
Dr. Mehran, may I ask you one question?
sure, please.
So you were explaining on the Excel about the 3 fundamental elements and one of them is risk-taking ability. Can you explain more about the risk ability?
If you have first of all, I would really suggest you to just read these entrepreneurship orientations articles that I've already shared with you here. But when you have a definitions of the entrepreneurs, we would say that someone who just taking the risks, money, time, and their reputations to innovate the business, to change the to innovate the new products or new business, or to change the current business model. This would be the definitions that we would give for entrepreneurship. So any entrepreneurs that are risk taker, because they have to change the current business model. It's also linked with the resource-based view model and managerial perspectives, because we said that in a managerial perspective, we have even 2 different types of managers. Those that there are proactively change the market and taking the risks. So there are risks taker, or there are risk reverse approach. So we would see that entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial orientation is more linked to the risk-taking approach. So those peoples or those managers that they are willing to take a risk of the changing, and willingness to invest and willingness to dedicate resources for this risk taking. This would be different directions that you could go and kind of managing that to measure that variable. But this is the articles which I already shared with you. It's pretty much helping you and explain each dimensions and how you can operationalize these variables. Okay.
I will read the article first. Thank you. I'll explain.
Sure, but please follow the researcher, and this researcher has main focus would be on the entrepreneurship, and he's one of the name in these directions, and you will be able to understand more about his research and how you could just use the same approach that you for your research.
Okay, well,
and if anything else, you can just directly just write it back to me. If
okay.
I could support. Yeah, sure. Any other question you might have?
Sure.
Please.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sir, I have permission to ask more technical question.
Please.
How do we get the best dimension and indicator to answer the question? I want to research about blockchain social blockchain. Do we get from book or journal? What is the difference in the quality of book or journal in determining our indicator? So thank you.
Good. Nastura, am I right with your name? Nastura?
Sutra, sir.
Nasutra. So Nasutra, very important. What you already mentioned is more likely the methodological perspective questions. Yeah. If I supposed to decide about my my indicators and my operationalized variable, first of all, very important things for me would be the content validity. Yeah. So I need to just take my variables or take my operational variables from those articles that are kind of published in a good journals, and receive a very good number of the citations. I'm so sorry to say that, yeah, because high number of the citation is not linked sometimes to the journal that you're using. Sometimes the journals are kind of subscribe basis journals. So sometimes the article is very good. It's just published in a high ranked journals, but it's not publicly available for people to use it. So this type of article, although that they are very good, but they are not receiving high number of the citations. Yeah. But there are certain articles which they are okay. I don't want to disrespect these articles, but they are okay. But they are publishing in the peer review, free access journal. Then you're going to see such kind of articles sometimes receiving like, I don't know, 20, 30 citations over there. So how you can fix it? You have to look for those people that are really, really working in this direction. For example, Professor Wach, yeah. Whenever I want to measure something related to the entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial orientations, I would definitely check his articles. I don't care how many citations he got, yeah. But I'm going to search it. But sometimes you will see that one article is receiving like 50, 60, 30, 100 citations. So definitely this article is good at receiving so many citations over there. Yeah. So you could just check it. Another way would be that to checking the validity of the constructs over there. So if you check the factor loading, if you check the convergent validity, Cronbach alpha, from the articles that they are publishing over there, if you will see that in the models they have high loading, high level of the convergent validity. So at least it shows you that this is a construct, or this is a kind of question that you could just take in from those research as well. Yeah? This would be three different type of directions that you could go. First, look for good journals and look for those articles with a high number of the citations. Try to understand who is the name on the field, yeah, and then check the methodology. Try to see that how much was the validity of the questions and questionnaire. Did I answer the questions? Asutra?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sure, you got it really? Yeah? You know what I mean, Asutra? If you check the validity,
yes, sir.
Yeah, Cronbach alpha, factor loading, CFA is very much helping you to just distinguish the good questions from a kind of random questions, and try to not design a question yourself. Yeah, this is the best way to avoid such kind of problems. First of all, I would love to show you how I would summarize my articles which I'm reading on that directions. I'm not telling you it's the only way, but actually it is my approach and I'm quite happy with it. And probably it's helped you also if you go to that direction. Yeah, if you can see, it's not the best one, but maybe the next one. I would see when you are just coming up to read one articles, please try to just have these directions. Maybe there's a number, maybe there's a file name related to the journals, put it over there, and then title, author. I would even put the full citations as well here, or the full sources here. What was the objective from this work? So then I have a name, then I have an objective, literature review. Very briefly, I would just make the literature review for myself here. What type of theoretical framework that they were using? I just put it here. For example, if in this case, yeah, if I just put RBV model, it just helped me to go to my 12 review or 12 articles which I've already put in my set to check it. If I'm just pushing, for example, here, green innovation. So I know that I have like 144 times green innovations in different articles. It's kind of repeated here. And maybe in these sets, I have more than 70 articles, which is linked to only my literature review in these directions, which I want to use. So it's pretty much helping me. I have models here. I could really check it. Then you could even change the model. And very briefly about methodology, how many samples that they have, population sample size, which country that they were using, which type of instrument that they were using, what type of industry, what type of product, with what type of country that they were using, what was research findings, and then this part, limitations and future directions. So every time I have this limitation and future direction, so maybe like 10, 20 pages, I just converted to 3 to 5 pages of the review and proofread everything. So every time I want to do the literature review, technically I come to this part, try to pile up my literature review, and then try to read it to make it really kind of work here. This is one way I would really suggest you to do it for yourself. And there would be the next document, which I would generate based on this, was the Excel sheet that I already showed you. This one. So in the Excel sheet, if you can see, I don't know which one would you see. Okay, you see this one, right? So I have my constructs, and for my construct, I have the whole definitions here. So every definitions I already have here, I have already just got it here. New definitions, and then I have relationships. So I know which articles, what would the date, what industries, what was a dependent variable, what was a mediator, what was a dependent, independent, dependent, and negative and positive impact. So I have all of them together. So it just gives me a kind of brief overview about what I'm doing. So here is about relationship between the construct and set into the articles. And then it's something which I also interested to use is also data analysis and the data collections method that I was using here. So this would be even something that might help some of you if you go to these directions. David, go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Mehran. I have a question for you. Sorry.
Could you, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so my question is, if let's say I were to try to find dimensions and indicators, which one would be better from your experience? Would it be better from a research article, a research journal, or a book?
Definitely research journal.
Research journal. Oh, why is that, if I may ask?
Textbooks are good. I can't say it's outdated, but the way that we are just do the textbook, it's more like for it seems that Dr. Babolian is not really angry with me, but am I right?
Yes, right.
So I would if I supposed to operationalize my variables, I would normally go with my with the journals, but it doesn't mean that what I'm doing is 100% correct. So this is my approach in my research, and probably Dr. Babolian's have different perspectives toward using, but it doesn't mean that me or he are wrong. I would textbook is written in order to be taught in the lecture. So we are trying to see everything very directly, very kind of generally to be discussed here. But when it comes to the research, I would assume that the persons who wants to do the research already know about the textbook, and now they are going to that directions. Maybe Kotler marketing mix or marketing aspects. So these are those things that you already just would be able to find in a textbook. Definitely okay, but find me a textbook related to the social media research. Find me a textbook related to the sustainability that I could use that. It's very rare, and sometimes the information is not properly kind of adjusted with the new line of research, but it doesn't mean that you can't use a textbook. Definitely you can use a textbook, but I would advise you to even check the journals. Both of them maybe be good directions. Now Ruzbeh might be more happy with my answer.
Totally agree with you. For the articles are much more helpful for writing and referring to compare with textbook. Especially for the textbooks, you can refer to general terms to know about definitions, but journals are more up to date and can give you a better vision about the topics you want to work.
Definitely, textbook. I don't really just recommend textbook. I would just use journals. but not all journals. Yeah? Depends how much effort that you want to put over. There's definitely high-ranked journal, but I told you about the problem of the high-ranked journals. There's some good articles that they are not receiving so many citations because they are not easily publicly available. David?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Mehran.
Sure.